Hi there. This is Cardinal Dr. Elizabeth Samantha Rothschild Judge. And let's talk about being socially obnoxious. Okay? That's one subject topic. And the other would be what to do about anything. Okay, the socially obnoxious. When people are not social workers, but they have a bit of an influence over particular portions of society or over certain climates, maybe environments, spaces, offices, homes, and they are not social workers, then they cannot really know what someone else needs socially. So they should not construct anything socially that would affect other people without their permission. It's number one. Now, what does it take to be a social worker? There are certifications, there are licenses, and there are degrees. The higher the degree, the greater the knowledge, and the more control and influence one actually has, even when no one's listening to them. All right. Now, socially obnoxious. When people try to create social activity, unwanted social activity, meaning whoever they're trying to interact with or want to affect does not want to interact or be affected by them, then they are being socially obnoxious, and they deserve penalty for that. All we can do in the general public is socially distance ourselves from people who are like that. But what about when people are in their workplaces and they're being socially obnoxious with persons whom they should be professional with, maintaining significance in their job duties according to the job description and actual power of command that they have at all times in front of anyone, including all superiors and or subordinates if there be any. Okay. Socially obnoxious when someone does not want to interact and or be affected by someone, and that person does so anyway. They keep trying to affect them or interact with them. That's being socially obnoxious. Crashing into people, trying to meet up with someone who is not planning to see you, does not care where you are, does not care how you have descended or how you've moved around or what's going on with you at that moment, and has not any professional attachment or connection to you legally, then it is socially offensive to do that and socially obnoxious. And, social distancing is something. Grab your PPE gear. People who that happen to, sometimes I grab mine. Sometimes I'm like, well, I outclass this situation so much to where I don't even need my PPE gear. Okay, so the other thing that I wanted to talk about is what to do about anything when it comes to anyone else. Disclaimer, this is not to tell anyone to take any sort of action. This is to express three options of any human at any time about any situation, okay? To be completely absolved. The first thing is something none of us should do, and that is kill someone. There is a commandment against murder, and there are laws against murder and homicide. All right, so that's not an option unless a person goes through due process to bring someone to justice that deserves the death penalty. That is the only legal way. So never start talking trash about how you're going to kill somebody when you're not going to do a thing. The thing about it is when someone is caught in a crime, they face penalty, and that's how that goes. All right, so since that's not an option that many of us have, because even I, being a judge, have to bring it through due process in my chambers, and when it comes to executing, send it over for the execution to happen, okay? So that's not something I take lightly. So I tell other people, if you can, don't say you're going to kill somebody or whatever, that's crass. And I even used an example to show some people how crass it sounds, okay? Well, the second option would be to not interact with them and not be avoid them. That's not so easy. So when you can't avoid problematic people and problematic situations that are socially dysfunctional and socially offensive, and people are being socially obnoxious, and you want to social distance, and you cannot, the only other thing you can do is cut them off. So even if you have to be around them, you make it known that you don't want to interact with them. Or if you can get completely away from them where you can control the environment to say if they are welcome or not welcome, then that would be the other thing to do. But otherwise, just get away. Just cut them off. And that's the best way to get, because you can cut somebody off and they could be sitting right next to you and you're not even fool with them. They're just sitting there trying to look like they're somebody to you since they're sitting close by or even talking. Goodness, for some people, if you speak to them and bid them a good day, they start acting like that. How socially obnoxious. So you cut them off of your likes for interaction. Cut off, don't want to know you, don't want to talk to you. Don't care to ever see you again. Don't care how your kids doing. I don't care about how your parents doing. I really don't care about none of that. That's how I feel about socially obnoxious people. Now, in an environment where you don't control who comes in and out, and other people have control over that, you may not always be able to cut off someone's presence from you, but you can make up your mind that you don't fool with people, and no matter what they say or do, you don't have to fool with them. That's each person's right. And guess what? That definitely beats thinking about killing someone or saying something so crass when you're not going to do anything. Sick people who feel like they would, please go to the asylum as soon as you possibly can. Otherwise, anyone that does that, you will be brought to justice by law enforcement. And not many persons that go around murdering people make it all the way into jail. We just hear about the ones that go ahead and go through the court trial. There are many who are taken out at the scene. Remember that. All right, I'd like to say shout out to Metropolitan Police Department, United States Secret Service, FBI, CIA, DEA, and Department of Defense. General Dr. Elizabeth Samantha Rothschild, Judge, signing out.